Hi, I'm Vanessa and welcome to the Lunar Review. Today I'm talking about the third and the ninth house in astrology. And the third and the ninth, they are exactly opposite each other on the zodiac wheel. And this is important because that means they're on the same axis. They have the same polarity. So that means that they're going to share common themes and traits, but the way that they manifest it are going to be very different. And I always think it's interesting to know about these opposites because they're a team. You need both of them to be in balance. One certainly is not better or higher than the other one. So third and ninth house axis, it's a very mental axis. This is the polarity of communication and travel. So in the third house, this represents our really the fundamental use of our mind. It's our base intellectual capacities. It's our logical thinking, how you use your mind, how you interact with your immediate environment, how you communicate with those in your immediate environment. So those are usually going to be your siblings, your peers, your friends, anyone who is really a familiar face. So this could even be your neighbors. Also, our early childhood education is represented by the third house, and our experiences. And these are really important because what these experiences have done is set the foundation for the way that you currently think, your current thought processes. So this is a lot of that day-to-day sort of routine conversation. It's where you're talking smack or, you're even some chit-chat. All the data, information, raw facts, all of those ideas that you bounced off of others in the third house, all of this gets taken up into the ninth house, and then what happens is it melds and then it explodes, it expands. This knowledge is taken up a notch. It goes to the next level. And this is what the ninth house does, is that it's a place where you can really start crafting your belief systems. You get to ponder the most magnificent philosophies. You get to explore spirituality, religion, law, and you get to discover what philosophies and ideologies are really most sacred to you, what's really the most precious thing for you. So these are your deepest concerns, and it's here that you really find meaning in your experiences, and you get to know your highest ideals. And not only that, but you get the chance to live according to them. The third house is where we really absorb information effortlessly, and it's our natural way of learning. The information here, the learning, it's more of a scientific nature, it's logical, and our view of things is very objective. Then we have the ninth house. The ninth house, the thinking is more artful, it's abstract, it's purposeful. It's very purpose-driven in the ninth house. This is where we really strive and we really mold our ideas in order to reach a high level of mastery. Third house. Third house is more your feet are on the ground. The third house is at the bottom of the zodiac wheel, so it's closer to the ground. So here is where we have our common sense. The information is it's very useful. And this is very powerful because you can become extremely influential according to your abilities to communicate and to persuade people. Ninth house, you could say that we have our head in the clouds. The ninth house is at the top of the zodiac chart. Okay, head in the clouds, not necessarily a bad thing because it means that there are no limits to the possibilities, no limits to what type of knowledge you can acquire. And the power here is that you can become very highly principled and very moral. So you can be the guru, the teacher, the professor, the counselor. You could be just that master. You could be the person that people flock to for knowledge. The third house also represents short journeys, and it also represents the vehicle that you use to get around. It is your local neighborhood. So this could be your daily commute, your daily grind, your errands, your yoga classes, the long walk you do in your neighborhood. Or it could be you're a weekend warrior. You go away for the weekend. But these are generally shorter range trips. Then we go into the ninth house, and here we have the house of long journeys, pilgrimages, or those once-in-a-lifetime epic climbs to Mount Everest. These are also, this is also where you would find really mind-blasting, illuminating experiences, sitting under a tree for 7 years and coming out illuminated. So this is the house of foreigners and foreign culture and foreign land. And the third house represented our early childhood experiences. Now we are representing the higher education. These are the graduate degrees, the doctorate degrees. So in the ninth house, there is a lot of truth seeking and a need to explore the unknown, in an effort to expand the mind. So when you have these houses out of balance, so let's say that you have a very strong ninth house. Oh wow, you got the best philosophies, the most lofty thoughts. I mean, your head is so high in the clouds that your feet don't even touch the ground. But you might have these wonderful ideas, but you can't influence people. You don't know how to use information practically. You don't even know how to use email or something. So you have to go back to the third house so that you can make your ideas just more practical and more accessible to people. And you can also have in the third house, you can be extremely strong, and in the ninth house, be weaker. So you might have all those skills. You might have all the technical skills. You might know how to write, speak, mime, do everything perfectly. But because your ninth house is weak, you don't have any morals. You don't have any principles. Maybe you're corrupt. Maybe what you're spreading is actually evil or is just not helping anyone. So you have to ask yourself, am I standing on sacred ground? When I was in my early 20s, I backpacked through West Africa. And at that time, that was really rough travel. And there were basically no foreign tourists. The most people that I met were part of aid organizations or NGOs. So I met some people from the Peace Corps, and I remember going out to one of the villages called Kumbo, and the friend that I made, who was in the Peace Corps, he could speak Sarahule, so he was translating for me, and I was speaking with some of the villagers. And I'll never forget this one conversation. This man was asking me, okay, what's my name? That was always the first question. What's your name? Where are you from? Are you married? And if you weren't married, will you marry me? And then inevitably, the next question would be, can you get me a green card for your country? So was that a third house or a ninth house conversation? For me, that was very ninth house, even though it was just collecting some very basic objective information. But because I was in this foreign country and I had an interpreter, this culture was just, there was no technology. There was no running water, no electricity. In this village, most people had never even ventured more than about a 2-hour walk away. So that was really, really far for me. Like that was beyond what I could have imagined from where I grew up. So it was interesting. Then I had another conversation with a lady in the village, and she was asking me the same questions, but not will you marry me? And she asked me if we have the sun in America, if we have the moon, if we have the stars, and I said yes. I told her yes, we have all of that, and she wanted to know, are they the same? Are they the same ones that they have there in Africa? And I told her yes. She had also heard that there were men who went in a plane to the moon, and so she was asking me whether this was true or not. So again, this might sound very third house, very basic, very objective, but because of the conditions and the environment that I was in, and the fact that it expanded my mind, I mean, it blew my mind. That was at the very beginning of the trip, and if I had to have gone home the next day, I feel I would have gotten an amazing learning experience just from that. And I also think that the people I was speaking with also had a mind expanding experience by speaking with me. So yeah, something very interesting to think about with the third and the ninth house. And I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you for listening, and I will be back again.